Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and I find myself once again drawn towards the Fabled Lands. It's been too long, I've been meaning to return for a few days now and here we are. Unfortunately, last time I was playing, Lord of a Warrior suffered a rather ignoble fate. And I said, hey, you know, I'll play one of the other classes. And I put out a call, I said, hey, leave a comment if you have a particular character class you'd like to see me play, and I don't really think I actually got any responses. So, what have we got? The Mage, the Rogue, and the Troubadour that I haven't played. And I think I'll go with the Magician, an Ian of Magic. Could be a boy or a girl. I think I'm going to go boy. I've played enough female characters in this game. And I think I'm going to call him Mambrino or Freston. For reasons which might not be into... So yes, Mambrino from Mambrino's Golden Helmet. And Freston, obviously Freston the Enchanter. Both from Don Quixote. But I'm feeling Mambrino sounds like a suitable name for a pretentious magician who thinks he's above everything else. Mambrino. And we have two spells, Lightning Strike and Ice Bolt. So Lightning Strike, 3 turn cooldown, range 5. Cooldown a lightning bolt of electricity to strike a single target. Deals 50% max weapon damage and has a 70% chance to daze for 3 turns. The 70% chance daze is probably the best thing about that spell. And then Ice Bolt has a much larger cooldown of 7 turns. A range of 5. Call for Bolt of Ice that explodes and deals 50% maximum weapon damage to a target tile and all adjacent enemies. All enemies caught in the explosion suffer frostbite for 2 turns. So, overall, half maximum damage feels rather weak. But the side effects on these spells are quite potent. Let's look at this, however. Sanctity, major weak point. Charisma, combat, basically scouting and magic are all we can reliably use early on. I'm not expecting Mambrino to be the greatest achiever, but let's dive on in. Oh, and we get selected difficulty now. One reason I'm going for the Mage is because I haven't found their upgrade quest yet to get up to rank 2. And I'd like to do that. So let's see. The approach of dawn has turned the sky a milky grey green like jade. The sea is a luminous pane of silver. Holding the tiller of your sailing boat, you keep your gaze fixed on the glittering constellation known as the Spider. It marks the north, and by keeping it to port, you know you are still on course. The sun appears in a trembling burst of red fire at the rim of the world. Slowly, the chill of night gives way to brazen warmth. You lick your parched lips. There is a little water sloshing in the bottom of the barrel by your feet, but not enough to see you through another day. Sealed in a scroll case tucked into your jerkin is the parchment map your grandfather gave you on his deathbed. You remember his stirring tales of far sea voyages, of kingdoms beyond the western horizon, of sorcerers' islands and ruined places filled with treasure. As a child, you dreamed of nothing else but the magical quests that were in store if you too became an adventurer. You never expected to die in an open boat before your adventures even began. Securing the tiller, you unroll the map and study it again. You hardly need to. Every detail is etched into your memory by now. According to your reckoning, you should have reached the east coast of Harkuna, the great northern continent, days ago. A pasty grey blob splatters on the map. After a moment of stunned surprise, you look up and curse the seagulls circling directly overhead. Then it strikes you. Where there's a seagull, there may be land. You leap to your feet and scan the horizon. Sure enough, a line of white cliffs lie a league to the north. Have you been sailing along the coast all this time without realizing the mainland was so close? Steering towards the cliffs, you feel the boat judder against rough waves. A howling wind whips plumes of spindrift across the sea. Breakers pound the high cliffs. The tiller is yanked out of your hands. The little boat is spun around, out of control, and goes plunging in towards the coast. You leap clear at the last second. There is the snap of timber, the roaring crescendo of the waves, and then silence as you go under. Striking out wildly, you try to swim clear of the razor-sharp rocks. For a while, the undertow threatens to drag you down, then suddenly a wave catches you and flings you contemptuously up onto the beach. It's time to begin your adventure. Battered and bedraggled, you lie gasping for breath while you hear someone walking along the shore towards you. Wary of danger, you lose no time in getting to your feet. Confronting you is an old man clad in a dirty loincloth. His eyes have a feverish bright look that is suggestive of either a mystic or a madman.
Well, well, well. What have we here, friends? Asks the old man.
He seems to be talking to someone next to him, although you're pretty certain he's alone.
Looks like a washed-up adventurer to me, he says in answer to his own question. All wet and out of luck.
He carries on having a conversation that quickly turns into a heated debate. He is clearly quite mad. Excuse me, excuse me, you shout above the hubbub in an attempt to grab the old man's attention. He stops and stares at you. Is this the Isle of the Druids? You ask impatiently.
Indeed it is, says the old man. I see that you are from a land far away, so it is up to me to welcome you to Harkuna. But I think you may have much to do here, as it is written in the stars that someone like you would come. Your destiny awaits you. Follow me, young adventurer.
The old man turns smartly about and begins walking up a path towards some hills. You can just see some sort of monolithic stone structure atop one of them. Well, let's obviously pick up the healing potion that is left in the wreck of our boat. Wouldn't want to leave that behind now, would we? And now let's follow the old man. During your short trip upward, the man regales you with tales of your destiny and fate, continuously arguing with himself as he does so. Well then, let's follow and see this mighty stone edifice. You reach a hill covered with a circle of large obsidian standing stones. Despite the bitter wind that blows across these hills, the stones are unweathered and seem almost newly lain.
Here are the gates of the world, says the mad old man.
The stones are laid in such a way that they form 3 archways, each carven with mystic symbols and runes of power.
Each gate will take you to a part of the world of Harkuna, though I know not where, explains the old man.
Abruptly he turns around and sets off down the hill, babbling to himself. His voice fades as he descends the hill, leaving you alone with the brooding stones and the howling wind. There are 3 stone gates engraved with ancient runes. Each gate is marked with a name: Yellowport, Marlock City, and Wishport. From here you can see the coast and the whole island, which is heavily forested. Now, we might want to head straight to the mainland. Our Ian of Magic is not built for many battles. He's not like a warrior. However, 1 to 7, okay, so we're talking like 3 damage for his spells. Right, maybe 4 if we're lucky. His defense is very low. And, does magic factor into his spells? I'm not sure it does. So what can we do? We can go back down here and we can do the quest for the werebore. I think we might... Depends on if we can disable it with our spells. And we could do the quest for the ghoul. The ghoul's quest works best with magic, sanctity, and scouting, I think. We might want to try and reach the druids. So let's try that. You decide to explore the island further and ponder where to go next. You have a clear view from the top of a hill of the northern parts of the island, and you notice a previously unknown to you road that snakes along the cliffs. Well, let's go into the forest. Listen to those beautiful sounds of nature. The trees are closely packed, leaning together as if in conference, whispering quietly among themselves. Birds twitter in the distance, and slivers of sunlight lance down through the musky gloom. As you proceed along a forest track, you think you hear a rustling in the bushes. Later, you spot a shadowy figure darting through the trees, or was it your imagination? An animal's snuffling sound right behind you makes you spin around, but there is nothing there, and we are now going to attempt a scouting roll. I've just remembered why this could be a bad idea. You struggle deeper into the forest until you come to a thick wall of impenetrable thorn bushes. Circling it, you find there is a break in the hedge, but it is filled by a large tree. To your surprise, a face forms in the trunk and speaks in a woody voice. None can pass. Begone, human. Well, look, I really like trees, and I really care about the environment. I don't burn them with fire or lightning or anything. You explain what a tree lover you are, and that your heart has always been at home in the forest. You portray yourself as the greenest adventurer ever, and probably don't have the charisma to pull this off. What a load of old rotten leaves, exclaims the tree. Anyone can see you're as bad as the next human. In fact, I'd say you're probably a lumberjack. Now get lost. Alright, I'm leaving. I don't need any trouble. The journey through the trees proves as difficult as when you first ventured into the forest. We got lucky. The scent of the sea proves strongest in one direction. Following your nose, you eventually break free of the trees and find yourself on the coast. Now, we could keep going back to the forest, and with this charisma of 2, we're going to struggle to persuade the tree to let us pass. If we go fighting bandits and looking for a werebore, we could seriously suffer, so I think it's time to just go straight to the mainland. And I'm not even going to go to Yellowport, but instead to Marlock City. You step through the archway. Immediately the symbols on the stone begin to glow with red-hot energy. Your hair stands on end and your body tingles. A crackling nimbus of blue-white force engulfs you. The sky darkens and thunder and lightning crash and leap across the heavens. Suddenly your vision fades and everything goes black. When your sight returns, you find yourself outside the gates of a huge fortified city. A guard starts in surprise at the sight of you. Then he shakes his head as if to clear it. Sure, he must have imagined what he just saw. Oh, sorry, no. Then he shakes his head as if to clear it. Sure, he must have imagined what he just saw. Yeah, he is sure, not... Oh, sure, he must have done it. The gates open and a troop of heavy cavalry canter past. "Make way for the Marlock City militia," says the guard. When they've passed, you walk into the city. Marlock City is a huge, sprawling metropolis enclosed in a fortified wall said to have been built 1,000 years ago by the ancient Shadar Empire. It is the capital city of Sokhara. Marlock City was once known as Sokar, until General Grieve Marlock led the army in a bloody revolt against the old king Corin VII, and had him executed. The general renamed the city after himself. It is now a crime to call it Sokar. The general lives in the old king's palace, and calls himself the Protector General of all Sokhara. Whereas the old king was corrupt, the general rules with a fist of iron. Some people like the new regime. Others are royalists, still loyal to Nergan, the heir to the throne, who has gone into hiding somewhere. Outside the city gates hang the bodies of many dead people. Labels around their neck reads, "Rebels executed by the state for the good of the people." "You best behave yourself if you don't want to end up like one of them," grates the guardsman, nodding towards the swinging corpses, as you pass through the great eagle-headed gates of Marlock City. To leave Marlock City by sea, or to buy or sell ships and cargo, go to the harbour master. Well, we're not going to do that. But we are going to be looking for some way to make a living. It's going to be tricky. I'm going to check the marketplace first of all. So if we want to go across Kirstmoor to a Devil's Peak and attempt that particular quest, for which we do not have the sanctity, we would want some climbing gear, right? Yes. So we can't afford any of this functional stuff that allows us to access certain areas. Now, the fact that the priest's skills are available here makes a lot of sense, because if we go look at the temples, they have the house of the priest here, that separate special temple. I am going to see if I can... Oh, this is tricky. This is really tricky. Mambrino may just perish, and I hope that's not the case. So, with this spread of abilities, I did not have confidence in attempting the starting quests. So what do we want to do? I think I want to go explore the city. This is a bad idea already. You take a stroll through the streets. Marlock City is teeming with people. Let's go to the Street of Entertainers. Psst, come here, friend, someone whispers from the shadows. Let's absolutely do that. Want to try your luck in the gambler's den? Asks a short, dark man dressed as a mercenary bodyguard. Just 5 shards entrance fee. He nods to a door at the top of some rickety stairs. Let's absolutely pay the money and go inside. Because I'm thinking that the whole quest with the Wizard's Apprentice and the Wizard might be how we get to rank 2. He smiles and takes you into the gambler's den. You're in a smoke-filled casino full of all kinds of dubious characters playing cards and dice. Let us gamble. And let's go for the lowest bet we possibly can. Yeah, 2 shards. Big winner here. Yeah, we lost the money. Well, let's depart. You're about to leave when you see a crowd gathered around a slim, pasty-faced scholar at a card table. By the three fortunes, but I'm hot tonight, he cries. It seems he's on a winning streak. You notice a couple of dodgy-looking ruffians watching the scholar carefully. Well, let's wait and follow him. Surely enough, when the scholar leaves, purse bulging with shards, the two ruffians also leave. You follow at a slight distance. As you suspected, the ruffians wait for a suitable moment and then set about the scholar. Help! Help! Thieves! Cries the scholar in a thin, reedy voice. Well, let's chase them away. You rush in, taking the ruffians by surprise. A couple of good buffets around the head and they run off. The scholar lies groaning on the ground. Well, let's help him. We could rob him. But no, let's help him up. Thank you, coughs the scholar. He gives you a vial of yellow dust as a reward. I found this at an ancient archaeological site I've been studying, he says. I believe it needs to be thrown into the holy waters at the village of the Blessed Springs, although quite what happens then I've no idea. He thanks you again and takes his leave. Now this, I suspect, will not be our rank up quest. It's not even a quest, apparently. But it might trigger it. What else can we do to try to survive on our limited amount of shards? There are many dangerous things we can do. I think we need to get moving. This is going to go so very wrong, just saying that now. So I'll head to Shadar Tor. You're on the cobbled road between Yellowport and Marlock City. It is well kept by the Sakaran military. You spot a man up ahead, striding towards you. Suddenly, 5 or 6 bandits appear from the wayside to assault him. The lone figure executes a series of movements almost faster than the eye can see, and you see his sword flashing in the sun. Moments later, the bandits are all lying dead or dying around him. You stop to compliment him on his swordsmanship. The man, a grizzled veteran of many campaigns, regards you with steely grey eyes and says, I have learned much of the arts of war in my time, it is true. Impressed by his skill and demeanour, you venture to ask him to teach you some of these arts. He looks you up and down with a critical eye and, oh my goodness, it's a combat roll. This is not our best ability score, but we managed. He seems to see something he approves of, because he says, Perhaps, but first you must prove yourself. There is a knight, a man of great evil. He is known as the Black Dragon Knight. Defeat him in battle and I will teach you. Bring me back his black dragon shield as proof of your valor. With that he turns and walks away. But how will I find him? And then how will I find you? You cry. Would you have him kill me for you as well? He asked over his shoulder. As for the second, ask for me in the Blue Griffin Tavern in Karan Baru. My name is Yanrit the Sun. You come to the top of a windswept cliff. An ancient pillar of jumbled rock, pitted and weather-beaten, stands at the cliff's edge like a broken finger pointing at the sky. Seagulls sing their song of desolation in the air. Judging by the runes etched into the rock, the Tor dates back to the time of the Shadar, a race that ruled Harkuna so long ago that they were lost in myth and legend. Let's examine the runes. This we should be good at. The runes are written in Old Shadar, an ancient language from thousands of years ago. You realize that the runes form a spell that will give you the power to breathe underwater for a few hours. So, we could go and pick up the quest for the Temple of Alvir and Valmir to infiltrate the lair of the abominable ones, whatever they're called, the monsters, repulsive ones, that's it, who have taken the sacred net. And instead of using sanctity to survive the haunting, lilting songs of the mermen and mermaids, we could use this spell to swim out into the sea, but we have no reason to go there yet. So let's just continue on the road to Yellowport. Yellowport is the second largest city in Saqqara. It is mainly a trading town and is known for its exotic goods from distant Ankonkanu way to the south. The Stinking River brings rich deposits of sulfur from the Lake of the Sea Dragon down to the town, where it is enchanted and stored in the large waterfront warehouses run by the Merchants Guild. From here, the mineral is exported all over Harkuna. Unfortunately, all that sulfur has its drawbacks. The stink is abominable, and much of the city has a yellowish hue. The river is so full of sulfur that it is virtually useless as a source of food or of drinking water. However, the demand for sulfur, especially from the sorceress guilds, is great. Potentially, much has changed in the past few years. The old and corrupt king of Saqqara, Corin VII, has been deposed and executed in a military coup. General Grieve Marlock and the army now control Saqqara. The old council of Yellowport has been indefinitely dissolved, and a provost marshal, Marlock, the general's brother, appointed as military governor of the town. Because, you know, General Grieve Marlock is not corrupt at all, not in the least. To leave Yellowport by sea, buy or sell ships and cargo, go to the harbour master. Well, we're not going to do that. We are a bit low on shards, and we do need some kind of income. I think I will try to tackle the repulsive ones, and this could go very badly. You're standing in the middle of the Plaza of the Gods, where all the temples stand in Yellowport. The Temple of Alvir and Valmir is built like an upside-down galleon. Alvir and Valmir are brother and sister, king and queen of the land beneath the waves, masters of the sea. Their servants and soldiers are the souls of the drowned, and when seas are rough and storm-tossed, sailors say that Alvir and Valmir are arguing again. Let us speak to the High Priest. The High Priest tells you that the golden net of the twin gods has been stolen. The repulsive ones have taken it to their palace beneath the sea in the sunken city of Ziosudra. The repulsive ones worship the fish god Oanes, who struggles with Alvir and Valmir for control of the sea. We must have that golden net, or the repulsive ones will use it against us. If you return it to us, we will reward you, says the High Priest. The sunken city lies under the coastal waters off the Shadar Tor. Well, let's accept the mission and be on our way. This could go all kinds of horribly wrong. You're on the road between Yellowport and Marlock City. Along most of the length of the road, a thin sliver of a shantytown has grown up. Tents and lean-tos line the way. You find out that the people living here are refugees from Trefoil. The city was burnt to the ground during the recent civil war in which the king was overthrown. Nothing happens along. That's good. That's good enough. We will examine the runes. We will need to roll again. This time we failed. Let's continue on the road. Go back to Yellowport. We can do this. We can do this, right? Ah, we found a lantern. Perfect. And cheap. Let's try and read those runes one more time. There we go. We will use the spell and swim out to sea. Gills grow on your neck as soon as you have read the runes aloud. You make your way down a track to the beach and swim out to sea. The gills work perfectly, and you find yourself swimming in the eerie silence of a submarine world. Suddenly, a hideous form looms out of the murk. It's rather like a giant squid, but it carries a spear in one of its many tentacles and wears rudimentary armor. Great black eyes shine with an implacable alien intelligence. You realize the creatures are some of the legendary repulsive ones. They are swimming past you intent on their own business, so you follow them in the hope that they will lead you to the sunken city of Ziosudra. Your instinct was correct. The seabed suddenly drops away to reveal the ruins of the sunken city of Ziosudra. Crumbling towers climb out of the hazy green depths, and the shoals of... Sorry, my throat's going a bit dry. And the shoals of flashing silverfish dart through the abandoned windows and doors of coral-encrusted buildings. The creatures you are following arrow down towards a large dome-like structure covered in waving tendrils of seaweed. They disappear through a hole in the roof of the dome. Carefully, you swim down to the hole and look through into the palace of the repulsive ones. The inside of the dome is lit with an eerie yellowish glow that comes from the sea moss that carpets the ceiling. At the far end, a grotto in the wall contains an idol made from seashells and coral, presumably of Oannes, the god of the repulsive ones. At its feet lies the golden net of Alvir and Valmir, the object of your quest. Between you and it swim several of the giant squid creatures, carrying out various undersea chores. Let us live dangerously and trust in our magical prowess, for if we cannot rely on our magical ability, we can rely on nothing at all. You hope your knowledge of the arcane arts would be enough. No. Your knowledge of the arcane arts is too limited to help you here. Okay, let's just try this then. There must be something you have learned that could help you. Please, yes! Mambrino, you should be embarrassed as a wizard. You remember what the fishermen say. The root of a certain seaweed, when crushed, gives off a cloud of toxic fluid. Its sap is harmless to humans, but is known to paralyze marine creatures for a short while. Fortunately, the seaweed grows in abundance here. You swim down with a handful of roots, squeezing its sap into the waters. The hideous creatures shoot towards you, but are paralyzed the instant they enter the cloud of reddish fluid that billows around you. You can take the golden net. Then you swim back to the Shadar Tor as fast as you can, and return to Yellowport. The priests of Alvir and Valmir are overjoyed when you have returned the golden net to them. The High Priest rewards you with 100 shards and a magic weapon, a rune-engraved trident. This has lower damage, so it's actually worse for our spells. However, quest completed, I feel that is a fine time to leave the episode here. Mambrino may not be the greatest achiever as an adventurer, but hopefully he can expect some modest success in the episodes to come. For now though, I'm going to say bye-bye everyone. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and I do look forward to see you in the many more to come. Bye-bye for now though, and cheerio everyone!